Good morning and welcome to our podcast here at Restored Hope Ministries. You know, the Apostle Paul said that godliness with contentment is great gain. He said, I know how to be abased and I know how to abound. You know, there are times and seasons in your life, I don't know how it is with you, but in my life, that there were times that I was sitting pretty good financially, and then there were times that it was a struggle to make ends meet. There were times that when people would, after church, go out to eat at a restaurant, and my wife and I, or myself before I was married, would go home to bologna sandwiches. I know how it is, but I always had something to eat, and I thank God for it. It is humbling. But I don't serve God for just the loaves and the fishes, so to speak. I don't serve God just so to see what he can give me or how he's going to bless me. In the thin times and in the thick times, I've served God. And sometimes you've got to learn to do that. There are times that you're financially fat, but sometimes when you get financially fat, you become spiritually dry. And, the good times, you're on vacation, you're going here, you're going there, and you don't have any time for God. But it seems like when the finances are tight, it seems like we have time to pray and say, God, I need some help financially. I serve God because I love him and because he loves me. Remember, that's the first commandment, to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy strength, with all thy might. With everything that's inside of you, you got to love God. So many times people follow Jesus for the loaves and the fishes, and we don't want to be a Christian that serves God just for the loaves and the fishes, that we can get a free meal or something to eat. We want to serve God because we love him. We're going to have to answer someday for all the things that we have had and how we have utilized the resources God has given us. As I look back over my life, I give God thanks for what I have and his faithful provision. He's always provided for me somehow, somewhere, some way. Sometimes it comes so unexpectedly that you're just surprised at a financial blessing, especially when you need it. I know how it is. I bought used vehicles years ago. I remember buying a Chevy Blazer one time that already had 100,000 miles on it, and that was considered a new vehicle for me, and that was back in the 80s. When I was 23 years old, I quit my job to go full-time in Bible college. I asked God for the finances to do this, and God enabled me to work my way through Bible college, and almost graduating debt-free. But during the summers, I worked pretty extensively to try to make sure that I had the finances to go back to college. I've quit my job to be full-time in the ministry, and God was faithful to bring me through. I can't tell you that it was roses all the time. It was tough. It was tough financially. There were a lot of times I depended on the finances of the church, but also people just donating canned goods and food and stuff like that. Life is a struggle, but we always manage to get through those tough times. And sometimes I know people become so disgusted with life that they even consider suicide. And that is not something that is an option for the Christian. You don't want to be committing suicide because your finances or whatever it is that is plaguing you. That is never the answer. So I don't want you to even consider that. Put that thought out of your mind. You know that we are joint heirs with Jesus Christ, but that doesn't mean we will never struggle. Let me say that again. Roll that around in your mind. We are joint heirs with Jesus Christ. We're more than just servants or lackeys. So we are joint heirs with Christ. We will rule and reign with him. A deeper study into the scriptures will show you that and prove that point to you. But it doesn't mean that while we're here on earth that we will never struggle. There are going to be times in your life that you are going to struggle. Faith makes things possible, but it doesn't necessarily make things easy all the time. I know that, we are challenged on a day-to-day basis, and faith makes things that are possible, and you got to stretch and reach for them. If it was given to you all the time, you would have no need of faith. But faith makes things possible, but it doesn't necessarily make things easy. Sometimes it's a very difficult time, and you got to stay faithful to God. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. I want you to know that I've been challenged in my body as far as sickness goes, and many are those afflictions. Since I've retired from the power company, I know that I've had a lot of challenges. You that are not new to the broadcast, you know some of the things that I have faced. Getting through COVID, but managing to live and to get through it. You can do that. You may have to face sickness or a job loss or disappointment in a marriage or a relationship. These are very painful things that we go through. I know that one time old Brother Walker, who pastored the church over in Fairchance, that he would say sometimes that God knows just how much pain to give you, how much sorrow, how much joy, how much happiness. He has everything that is measured out. And when those cups are full, that he moves on to the next thing in your growth. Bad things can happen to good people. Let me say that again. Sometimes you're wondering why the test when we're trying to do our best, but that, as the song says, we'll understand it better by and by. It rains on the just and on the unjust. It doesn't mean that God hates you. Please drive those thoughts from your mind. God doesn't hate you when you go through bad times. I've been challenged with a lot of sickness, and I've wondered, what have I done to deserve this? But I know that God brings me through each and every time. There's no testimony without the test, my son used to say, and I really appreciated when he would say these things because it made a lot of sense. There is no testimony unless you're tested. You can't tell people I've been through this or I've been through that, and you are able to empathize with people, not just have sympathy on people, but to have empathy. You've been through it just like them. Remember, and I want you to roll this around in your mind also, all sunshine and no rain makes something that we call a desert. Let me say that again. All sunshine and no rain makes something that we call a desert. Now, a desert is a beautiful place to visit and to look at, and I really enjoyed those old cowboy movies where they showed the guys out there in the Arizona desert or this or that, and, hey, that's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live in the desert. I'll take the rain. I'll take that rain when it comes. A desert may be a beautiful place to look at, but not much grows there. You know what I'm talking about. Cactus plants don't look too tasty to me. I have a preference to my tomato plants here in my backyard, but that comes with rain in life, and that's how life is. It's not all roses. It's not all fun and games. Our power to choose is displayed throughout our lives. And, we have to choose sometimes to go through some things and not to short circuit the plan of God. He has got some difficult times in our lives that are set up to discipline us, to strengthen us, to give us power, to give us a testimony. The Bible, and as that one preacher said, believers' instruction before leaving earth, Bible, believers' instruction before leaving earth, was written for our instructions so that through perseverance and the encouragement of the scriptures, we might have hope. Let me read that passage to you again. Roll it around in your mind. Think about it. That the Bible was written for our instructions so that through perseverance, that's it, perseverance is omnipotent, perseverance and the encouragement of the scriptures, we might have hope. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion in the day of trial in the wilderness, as the children of Israel did. They hardened their hearts. Remember that sunshine, that bright sunshine. Sometimes when sunshine hits wax, it softens. When sunshine hits clay, it hardens. Do not harden your hearts and become stiff-necked, and get mad at God. Like, why am I going through this? And why? Those why questions you need to avoid. And just say, God, you can bring me through. You are able in every situation. So today, if you will hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion in the day of trial in the wilderness. Perseverance, as I said before, is omnipotent. Some people have great intelligence or great talent. You may lack what other people have, but you must practice perseverance. You got to stay in there. You got to stay in the fight, just like that boxer, that when things are not going your way, how many times you've seen what's called an upset or a turnaround, and someone wins after they have gone through a trial. Well, hey, thanks for being with us, and continue to watch the podcast. Hit that like button. We really appreciate it, and send a comment if this message has touched you. And again, thanks for stopping by. Have a great day in Jesus.